You know, one thing I could say for certain, and which would seem like a paradox because I've always been uncertain. I've always felt confused. But, both things could be true. I've always felt certain that there's a otherness about me, which was surely the source of my confusion. This feeling as though I'm a stranger in the world, Uh, for as long as I've been conscious and cognizant to any extent, I felt, again, confused about the world around me. And I feel like this confusion, with which ironically other people seem to perceive as a, a giftedness and intellect, genius. I've been called it all: gifted, genius, mastermind, all of this. And I would say this to brag because I've never seen it as a flex. But what it is for certain is an intellectual curiosity, uh, not just a desire, but a need, a deep, fundamental need, more than food, more than water, um, more than the, you know, drive for sexual reproduction, but a fundamental need for knowledge, for wisdom, for understanding. This is nothing short of obsession. This obsession, this hyper focus, fixation on philosophy, the understanding and questioning of reality and existence, spirituality, which is essentially the transcendence of our material world, of time, space, and matter, the conceptualization of eternity. And, my, fixation on psychology as well, because mind is everything. Um, Again, mind also transcends time, space, and matter because there is no reality without the perception of said reality. And like I said, this intellectual drive, this intellectual curiosity, or more than that, this intellectual existence, which is just simply fundamental to who I am. I believe it's rooted in otherness. Um, there have been several ways that I've tried to, confront my own nature and conceptualize it. I've used spirituality to think, maybe the otherness I feel is because I was put here for a divine purpose, like a messenger or a prophet or otherwise a chosen one. Or, maybe before I became a corporeal being, I was some kind of spiritual being. If you know anything about Gnosticism, an eon, or maybe a fallen angel, one that rebelled or defied God, and it's being put into a human body as, punishment to endure this material existence outside of eternity. The constraints of this material world, which, some in the past, like the Gnostics, have considered to be evil and flawed by its very nature. Sometimes I've toyed with the idea of, maybe in a previous life I was a wolf, and this is just my luck, that I had to go from being a creature of instinct, predatory but loving and protective and strong, but also primal to being a human being. And I've used philosophy to try to conceptualize who I am. Maybe um, I fit into Nietzsche's idea of the higher human, or the Ubermensch, and I'm meant to transcend good and evil, the constraints of humanity in that way. Or Kierkegaard's concept of the night of faith, where instead of simply resigning to the idea of a higher power, that my connection with God is simply so strong that it supersedes any human concepts of social norms and morals and doctrines. And then, there's psychology, where I think, maybe all my feelings of otherness are tied to neurodivergence or mental illness. Maybe it's trauma. Maybe it's borderline personality disorder. Maybe it's traits of psychopathy, and which cause a disconnect between the feelings of other people and the norms of society. And I just have these innate predispositions genetically, or in conjunction with societal factors that have made me this way. But all in all, there's this otherness, and maybe there's not even a real need to find the source of the otherness. Maybe I simply be what I am, independent of everything. Just be, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe the question itself is, goes against the point of existence, goes against what it is to be. And simply participate in the oneness of everything. Recognize that even if I perceive myself as being a stranger, or being an other, an alien, a fallen angel, some kind of reincarnated creature, being neurodivergent or mentally ill, or whatever concepts there are, that it's simply time to be. It's just about existing and taking part in existence. In Exodus, when God identifies himself to Moses, he says, "I am what I am." That's it. That's his title as far as Moses is concerned. He is. And maybe that's the key, to be one with whatever you call it, to be one with God, to be one with the universe, with your higher self, to just be one, to just be, not to just be anything or everything or nothing, to be none of these things but all of these things, to simply be. So I don't know what the fuck the purpose of this video was, but the idea is to start flowing, so I turned the camera on. But yeah, if you feel like you don't have a place in the world, that you don't really know your purpose, your reason for being, and I'm not saying to not search for that. If that's what you're inclined to do, absolutely do it. But what the important part is, you are. There is no was, there is no will be, there simply is. So just be. Peace.